Welcome to the UI Automation module. In this session, we will learn how to automate desktop user interface interactions using UI automation activities inside Worc. We will build a simple calculator automation flow and understand how UI elements are identified, interacted with, and controlled. Now let us begin by creating the workflow by adding the Get Window node. This is to identify and capture the application window. In this example, we will work with the Windows Calculator application. Open the UI inspector from the right side of the Worc interface. Before inspecting elements, click on Keep on Top, so the inspector panel remains visible and stable while selecting elements from the application. Now click on Hover. Press Ctrl on the keyboard and move the cursor over the calculator application. Notice how the UI elements get highlighted as you move the cursor. This helps identify the exact UI element to capture. Now copy the application name calculator from the inspector. Inside the window name field, paste calculator. Now observe the match mode property. Set the match mode to starts with. This makes the selector more flexible and dynamic. If the application title changes slightly in the future, the automation will still be able to identify the correct window. This also helps avoid failures caused by additional text in the window title, version names, or dynamic values. Max wait time is set to 5 seconds by default. This value defines how long the automation should wait for the window to appear before throwing an error. The result is improved stability during execution. Result is stored in window element output variable. Outputs are important because they store information that can be reused in later activities. In this case, the window element output stores the identified calculator window. Now let us bring the application window to the foreground. Search for the focus window activity. Inside the window input field, map the window element output variable from the previous activity. The reason we use focus window is to ensure the target application is active before interacting with its controls. Some applications may not respond correctly if they are minimized or running behind other windows. Enable the Is window focused output. This output confirms whether the window was successfully focused. The result is better visibility into workflow execution and debugging. Now, we will start interacting with UI elements inside the calculator application. Search for the Click UI element activity. This activity is used to click buttons, menus, links, or any identifiable UI component. Now we need to identify the calculator button. Open the UI inspector. Now hover over the calculator button labeled 4. Notice how the UI inspector highlights the element. This highlighting confirms that the correct UI element is being captured. Click on the element to capture it. Now observe the identification object path. The path contains multiple levels of UI hierarchy. This includes the application window, groups, containers, and finally the target button. Certain properties can be enabled or disabled depending on how stable the application is. For example, if an element name changes dynamically, we may disable the name property and rely on Automation ID instead. This creates more reliable selectors. Now review the selector carefully by clicking on Test. We can see that the button 4 is clicked successfully. This confirms that the correct UI element has been identified. Copy the selector and paste inside the UI element. Now set the click type to UI automation. Click or mouse click, we choose UI automation click. Enable the isClicked output variable. This output confirms whether the click operation succeeded. Next, configure another Click UI element activity for the plus button. Open UI Inspector again. Hover over the plus button inside the calculator. Observe the highlighted element. Capture the button and review the selector hierarchy. Notice that the hierarchy includes the standard operators group. This grouping helps uniquely identify the plus button within the application. Save the selector and keep the click type as UI Automation Click. Now add another Click UI element activity for the number 2. Again, Open the UI inspector. Hover over the To button. Capture the element. Review the selector properties and confirm the automation ID corresponds to the correct button. This verification step is important because selecting the wrong automation ID may cause incorrect workflow execution. Now add the final click UI element activity for the equals button. Open the UI inspector. Hover over the equals button and capture it. Observe the selector hierarchy and ensure the correct button is selected. Save the selector. Now the flow sequence is complete. Let us review the workflow execution. The expected result is that the calculator displays the output 6. UI automation is used when we want bots to interact with desktop applications the same way a human user does. This is useful for legacy applications and desktop-based workflows. It is also commonly used when applications do not expose browser elements, and the controls need to be inspected directly using UI element inspection methods. Always use stable selectors. Validate elements using UI inspector. Use reliable properties like automation ID to build robust automation. We have learned how to use UI automation module in Worc Agent Builder. Continue exploring the platform to build more intelligent automation workflows.